In the last episode dealing with the collision between the aircraft carrier USS Harry S Truman and the commercial ship the MV Besiktas M that occurred just north of the entrance to the Suez Canal on the evening of February 12, 2025, I addressed the question about what would happen to the commanding officer of Truman. Here's an excerpt from that discussion with Sal Mercogliano, who's the host of the What's Going On with Shipping YouTube channel. The other question that people have been asking, Sal, is what's going to happen to the CO? So traditionally, if you run a ship aground, there's the notable exception of Nimitz when he was an ensign, right? People were telling that story this weekend down in Pensacola at the museum. But generally, in my lifetime, when a CO ran a ship aground or hit a buoy or hit a submarine or had a collision with another ship, they were relieved. Well, I'd no sooner posted that episode than word emerged that the CO of Truman had been relieved. Here's a short I put out about that action. Hey guys, quick update to yesterday's episode with Sal Mercogliano regarding the collision between Truman and the merchant ship just north of the Suez Canal. This reporting is from US 9 News. Headline reads, USS Harry S Truman CO removed from command following collision with merchant ship. Captain Dave Snowden was removed from command of the USS Harry S Truman on Thursday, according to a congressional notification reviewed by US 9 News and confirmed by a Navy official. According to the notification, Snowden was removed due to a loss of confidence in his ability to command following the February 12th collision between Truman and the merchant vessel MV Besiktas M off the coast of Egypt. In a statement, the Navy also said that the commander of USS Dwight D. Eisenhower, Captain Christopher Chowda Hill, will command Truman in the interim. All right, that's what we know for now. We'll report more as the information becomes available, so stay tuned. As regular viewers know, I'm usually sporting a short beard, but I still shave around my cheeks and neck. And like all of you out there who shave, I want a razor that's designed to prevent nicks, cuts, and irritation. So here's a secret that goes against what the shaving industry has been trying to sell you for the last few decades. You don't need a razor with up to half a dozen blades. You just need one with a single really good blade. And to get that good blade, I don't want an annoying subscription service. Just get me what I need for a great shave and then leave me alone. So meet the sponsor of this episode, Henson Shaving. Henson Shaving is a family-owned aerospace manufacturer that has made parts for the International Space Station and Mars rover. Now they're bringing precision engineering to your shaving experience. You see, the folks at Henson Shaving realize that a bad shaving experience isn't as much a function of how sharp the blade is, but rather how much the blade wobbles. Think of your razor blade as a diving board. The longer the board, the more it wobbles. A razor's micro wobbles are what lead to more nicks and cuts. Henson solves this by minimizing blade extension, addressing the root cause of bad shaves. Not the blade itself, but the extension. Henson's aerospace background allows them to create a razor that offers a vibration-free and incredibly close shave. Visit hensonshaving.com/Ward to pick the razor for you and use the code WARD, and you'll get 2 years worth of blades free with your razor. Just make sure to add them to your cart. That's 100 free blades when you head to hensonshaving.com/Ward and use the code WARD. So now we do have some new information, and that is that Truman has completed the emergency repairs to the parts of the carrier on the starboard side that were damaged in the collision, specifically the sponson behind elevator 3 and the exhaust vent after that runs all the way to the stern. Truman entered what is officially known as an emergent repair availability at Souda Bay, Greece on February 16th, 4 days following the collision after transiting from the waters near Egypt. In the previous episode, I asked Sal the following question. So Sal, do we have any idea how long this maintenance period, this emergent repair availability is going to take?
They're going to have to assess two things. Number one, obviously, have they lost any mission essential equipment that will prevent them from sailing? And, the incinerator, which doesn't sound like a major issue, but it is because you have to be able to get rid of your trash. You're not dumping things overboard. Obviously, they're going to have to do something with that. The second is the hull integrity. They have demonstrated and they posted images of flight operations going from Suez back to Souda. So, they're able to do flight deck operations. However, you have a hole ripped in the side of the ship. Now, it's way above the waterline. It's not like you're taking water on board. However, does the vibration, especially on the very fantail of a ship underneath the landing platform there, does that cracking and hull tears need to be arrested? Or in other words, are they going to have to patch this? Are we going to have to put some steel patches on it? Obviously, since Truman is scheduled to come in for its RCOH soon, you don't want to really invest in a huge amount of repairs. You just want to get the vessel underway and fully operate, or at least as operational as you can get it. So what I would envision is they're going to assess whether or not they can do the repairs at Souda. Souda is not a repair facility. What they're bringing in and this organization that's been created really came out of McCain Fitzgerald, the idea of having this kind of forward deployed, rapid deployment kind of maintenance team out there. They're going to go out, assess, see what they can bring into Souda to do. But if you're talking about steel work, we're talking about putting some steel patches on the side of the ship, and we don't know if frame members have been damaged inside the interior of the vessel. She may have to go into a yard, maybe in Marseille or Toulon, someplace where carriers go, where there's some repair facilities, or else she'll have to curtail her shipment, her cruise, and head back home. Everything we're hearing is she's staying. She's staying until she's supposed to leave and maintain it. So the question is going to be whether or not they can do it in Souda. I find it hard to believe they'll be able to do it in Souda. I think they're going to need some more facilities than are there. But does that mean they got to go into a yard somewhere for a brief period of time? This could be anywhere from a few weeks patching it up to, calling the crews a quit and heading back home and then just waiting to go into the RCOH at Newport News.
Well, as reported by our friend Heather Mongilio at US9 News, we now know the answer for how long it's going to take to repair the damage to Truman is 5 days, which is a lot quicker than most Navy and maritime experts predicted. The work was done by the Forward Deployed Regional Maintenance Center and the Theodoropoulos Group, a local industry partner. The fact that it was completed so quickly is an indication that the damage was mostly cosmetic rather than involving some of the systems that Sal mentioned in the excerpt that would demand more time to fix and perhaps require Truman to go somewhere other than Souda Bay. The hull was pierced above the waterline near the aft end, but obviously that didn't take very long to seal up. As documented in the short, Truman is now commanded by Captain Chris Chowda Hill, who regular viewers will remember we sat down with aboard the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower last fall shortly after the ship returned from an eventful deployment, highlighted by combat operations against Houthi rebels while sailing in the Red Sea. Subsequent to that conversation, Ike pulled into the shipyard for a maintenance period, which Chowda documented on his very popular Instagram page, and that's where that carrier was when he got the no-notice nod to assume command of Truman. And if you're looking for updates from Chowda on his social media outlets about what's happening out on Truman, you're probably going to be disappointed because word has it that he's off the air for the time being. There are other carrier COs who could have been tapped to take over, and all of them, regardless of where they are in their command tours, have the requisite qualifications and baseline experience to do the job. Captain Hill was chosen by the air boss along with other trusted agents up and down the chain of command because of where Ike is in the turnaround cycle and the fact that he has recent experience in both the 5th and 6th Fleet areas of responsibility, including how to transit the Suez Canal. In a recent news release, Chowda said, quote, "Our ship remains operationally ready to complete deployment with mission and purpose on full display by the entire crew. We are out here launching and recovering aircraft, ready to give 'em hell," which is, of course, the USS Harry S Truman's motto, "with combat credible power." End quote. Truman remains in the Mediterranean as this is being recorded, and it's unclear if the carrier and other warships in the strike group, the destroyers USS The Sullivans and the USS Jason Dunham, will return to the Red Sea anytime soon. 2 other strike group vessels, the cruiser USS Gettysburg and the destroyer USS Stout, remained in the Red Sea when the other ships went north through the Suez Canal. Of course, the USS Gettysburg is the ship that inadvertently shot down a Truman Super Hornet a few weeks ago. Truman left its home port of Norfolk, Virginia on September 23, 2024, and assuming what has become the standard length deployment of 8 months, should be scheduled to return towards the end of this coming May. The other question a number of viewers ask in the comments of the previous episode is what happens to the previous Truman CO, Captain Snowden, who hosted us when we went aboard the carrier off the coast of Florida last spring. Losing command due to loss of confidence is de facto the end of a military officer's career and generally viewed as appropriate and substantial punishment in and of itself, absent any findings of malicious intent during the chain of events that led to the removal. In 2008, the CO of the USS George Washington was removed from command after a fire underway in the Pacific that caused $70 million in damages. And in 2020, the CO of the USS Theodore Roosevelt was relieved of command by the acting Secretary of the Navy for his actions during a COVID outbreak on the ship. In both of those cases, the officers were assigned to shore-based administrative duties, followed shortly by retirement with full '06 pension. All right, that'll do it for this episode. We'll keep you posted as the information becomes available, so if you're not already a subscriber, become one so you don't miss anything going forward. And in the meantime, I look forward to talking to you again very soon.